take a look at their off-season potential moves. Alright, here's the roster. Here are the contracts. They got some flexibility. They got some things that they gotta get done. But let's take a look at the stats for the year. So for the postseason, obviously Siakam, Halliburton, a lot of important guys on this roster. Turner, Nembhard, McConnell, Toppin, Nesmith, Shepard, Jackson, all been solid. All been solid in the postseason, stepping up when guys are hurt. They haven't missed Ben Mathurin at all. They have not missed him. He's still a solid player, but their guard play has been just fine. It has been just fine. And then I think, you look at the bottom here, Jalen Smith, don't really need him. McDermott, don't really need him. The rookie Walker didn't really get into much. In terms of the regular season, they had Bruce Brown healed, traded those guys for Siakam. Jalen Smith played a little bit, so if he comes back next year, I assume, I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I think with his player option, maybe he ends up taking it unless somebody else gives him more money. Doug McDermott, they got no need for him. If anything, they want Walker to take his minutes. So, looking at this, first thing you gotta do, you gotta extend Pascal Siakam. You cannot let that trade be for nothing. If they do not bring Siakam back, they have a pretty good amount of space. So they got $107 million. You got Halliburton. He's got his max deal kicking in. Nesmith goes up to 11, but that could end up being a super sweet deal right there. But they have a ton of space. McConnell, not fully guaranteed, but I assume they will fully guarantee that salary because he's been solid for them as well. Mathurin still got 2 years of team options for his rookie deal. And up here, Turner, he's going to need an extension. He's got 1 more year. He's going to need something. But Siakam, it's tough. He's going to be 31. How big of a contract do you want to give him? I'd say it's at least got to be at least 4 years. I'd be surprised if he took a 3-year deal. I think somebody out there has to give him 4. There might even be a team out there willing to offer 5. I'd be shocked by that. I think actually, I don't even know, is the only team that's allowed to offer him 5 would be the Pacers, right? So most teams going to be showing up with a 4-year contract. He'll be 34, 35 by the end of that. That could be interesting, but Pacers is the right move. Now you gotta retain him. So Siakam's getting a 4-year. What kind of deal would he even get? That's a tough one. 4-year, 40. I don't even know. I assume he's getting complete max. Not 440 sounds too low. I don't even know. We'll have to look at that one. Let me know in the comments if you guys know what Siakam's max money he could get for a 4-year deal. Or 5. It's crazy. They're in a tough spot. He's already 30, but you gotta extend him. You gotta figure out something. Miles Turner, 1 more year left. He's been on a great deal. What's he gonna be asking for? Because he's been good. He's been solid. He's been a potential trade partner for years for the Pacers. Never moved him, but you gotta keep him. He's a part of the core at this point. You gotta extend him. At least give him a 3-year extension. Get him for 4 years. Get him on the same timeline as Siakam, Halliburton. That would be nice. McDermott, I think they're just gonna let him go. He's wasn't really a big part of the rotation. They could easily replace him. It's him. I'm looking at him and Jalen Smith. I think they almost hope that. I don't know what Jalen Smith would get. I feel like he's not gonna get offered a ton. He's already 24. Hasn't really shown much. I think he'll end up taking this player option, but anything that you lose with McDermott, he got the rookie Walker. He's got a year under his belt. Didn't do much his rookie year. But you got him to kind of take over those minutes. But Toppin's a big one because he was solid. He's a good player. Let's take a look. regular season, solid 20 minutes a game. Gets to the postseason, same thing, about 20 minutes a game, 10 points, and just, he's a solid player. What kind of money is he going to be looking for? Is he like a similar contract to Neesmith type of guy? Is he worth more than that? It's tough. But I think it would definitely be, if they get him on a Neesmith type contract, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful for them. Isaiah Jackson, he's got one more year here. Team option, last of his rookie deal. He's been solid off the bench. Nothing crazy, but is he the type of guy? I don't think he'd be brought back then. Next year, I don't see him getting an extension. I think he'll play out 1 year here, and that'll be it. But you got Shepard, Nemhard, all on rookie deals. Kendall Brown, he didn't play a ton, but he still has, 2 years of a non-guarantee. So the Pacers, they're in the right spot. They really are. I thought it might be another year before they could really even make a decent run. But hey, the Knicks were banged up. Bucks were banged up. They made a nice run all the way to the conference final. Very good for them. I thought, it's always tough for those teams that, halfway through the year, they, make a trade, a big trade, a team-altering trade, like getting Siakam, sending out Brown, sending out Buddy Hield. These guys, they gotta play together, be used to each other, and clearly half a year was enough for this. Seems like Pascal's a good fit. Gotta bring him back. What type of deal that'll be on, I don't know. That could be tough. 3-4 years from now, it could be a bad thing that they have him under contract, but for the next year, for the next 2 years, it's a solid move. Worst case scenario, if he somehow falls off a cliff 2 years from now, you got Halliburton. That's it. No, I'm kidding. You got Halliburton. Hopefully Miles Turner will be extended by that time, so it's just one of the situations where maybe they throw some picks in, send Siakam somewhere else for somebody else, so down the line they could definitely do something. But I think Siakam, get him a new deal. 3 or 4 years would be nice, hopefully not 5. Miles Turner, playing for $19 million next year, gonna have to extend him. I mean, I feel like he's... Oh, man. I feel like 3 years, 75, too low. 4 years for 100. Like a Jared Allen type deal. Maybe even more than that. He might have to get more than that. Could he be a 4-year, $30 million? 120, that'd be interesting. He'd be about 32, 33 when that ends. That's not too bad. McDermott, just let him go. Or just bring him back for the minimum if you want to have him around. McConnell, guarantee his contract. Mathurin still got 2 years of that rookie deal. Hopefully he can recover and play well next year. Toppin's a tough one. I don't know what they would pay him. But hey, if Toppin, if he doesn't work out, he plays power forward. Maybe that's maybe Jarris Walker by year 2 will be ready to kind of take over his minutes. Who knows? But he's only 20, and didn't do a ton for them this year. But Halliburton, nice extension, kicks in. They got him locked in for a while. That's great. That's great stuff. You pretty much guaranteed yourself for 5 years here that you're going to be competitive with Halliburton on your team. You just got to give him some decent players, and they got him. I think Siakam, Turner, and all of these nice pieces. McConnell has been great. Neesmith has been great. Shepard has been great. Nemhard has been great. Jackson has been great. Toppin, just a lot of good pieces. You look at how they did this year, and you're like, this is ideal right here. This is what you were hoping for when you put together a team like this. And the benches are so important when you get into the playoffs. You gotta have your stars. You gotta have good stars, but then you gotta have that bench. And they've had it. You have Tyrese Halliburton gets injured, Nemhard, and Shepard step in and score a bunch. It's just, they still lost, but solid team. They've they've come at the Celtics, and they could be up 2-1 right now. You know, they could have been up 2-1, and instead it was 3-0. So just a tough situation. But I like the Pacers. I like what they got going on. I hope, I hope they don't get stuck like the Hawks, where it's like, oh, they made it to the conference finals, and then, it's like, oh, things are looking up. All of a sudden, 2 years later, they're not looking great. But the Pacers definitely, for the next year or 2 here, they got a solid squad. Even if they don't bring back Toppin or McDermott, the pieces they have right now are good. They have to. Siakam's got to come back, or they got to bring in somebody that's solid in that max slot. They got to pay somebody. So hopefully it's the guy they traded a bunch of stuff for. But yeah, that's gonna be it. That's the Pacers squad. Tough year for them. Not a tough year, but a great year actually. They had a great year. Tough finish for a great year. But yeah, they got to be happy about where they're at. Just a couple offseason moves, and they could be in a really good spot for these next 2 years, and that's at the least. They could be good for a bunch of years, like I said,